everybody, I hope you're doing well. My name is Sydney. I am a graphic designer based here in Detroit, Michigan. And today I wanted to do a video designing a brand identity for an app called Band Central. Now, Band Central is a band management set list organization app. I've done a lot of the initial mood boarding and first round of designs to see if it would work for the client. Now that I have a good sense of where we're at, I feel like I can really dive into the brand and fully develop what Band Central will look like. So we have a lot of work to do. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Hi guys, Editing Sid here. I just wanted to pop in and say that when I started editing this, first of all, I didn't realize how long it was going to be, but it should have been obvious because I worked on this for probably 7 hours this day. But I also kept getting so in the zone that I would stop describing what I was doing. So the editing process is taking a lot longer. So I'm gonna split this video up into a couple different parts. This video will only include up to the creation of the logos. And in the next video, I will get started on the promotional graphics and more of that visual photo aesthetic and identity kind of stuff. Okay, thanks for watching and enjoy the video. Okay, so this is the initial icon that I've come up with for Band Central. I did start at this kind of idea of this ongoing BC logo, but upon trying it out in the actual app store, they didn't really like how it looked, so we went pretty basic with it. This is a logo we are currently moving forward with. I'll also show you this initial mock-up that I sent over when I began working on this. And this, you can see that original logo that I had come up with. I wanted to try and find a way to use a universal symbol of music, and what better than a 1/4-inch plug. So that was kind of the idea for that. And I just wanted to kind of show what the overall aesthetics could look like for Band Central. So here I have a rough to-do list for what I want to accomplish today and in this video. So we want to finalize that color palette. I had a call with them just before this video. We finally decided on the main blue, so now all I have to do is find the contrasting lighter color, and that should be pretty easy. They also decided that for typography, we landed on Helvetica. Classic. You really can't go wrong. So for the logo, that BC is going to be the main icon. I want to expand upon it and make a full logo with Band Central fully written out in that same stylized circular, I guess, font that I've somewhat created, and maybe just play around with 1 or 2 different versions of that. Next, they did ask me to develop the look of the homepage, and I feel like that may end up coming on a bit later, just because there's a lot to do behind that. Eventually, I want to create an animated logo for this finalized logo design, but what I'll do is I'll just kind of group those all under the same category. And the last thing that's kind of on my to-do list is to create different promotional and how to use graphics. If you ever go into any app store and you scroll down, you'll see that there's usually screenshots of the app and maybe some verbiage on the side explaining in 1 or 2 words what the app does. Here's an example of that, little infographics that kind of explain how the app works. So I want to make some of those as well. So let's jump into Figma. Let's create this new template for the brand guidelines. Let's solidify the colors and the typeface, and then let's move on to the logo. Here we are in Figma. I'm gonna just create a classic PowerPoint dimension frame here. The way I've been setting up presentations in Figma is by first creating a main frame that will hold smaller frames within it. The dimension of the smaller frames is 1920 by 1080 pixels, which is the average dimensions for a PowerPoint. Though of course these dimensions can be adjusted depending on whatever project you are working on. Setting up the presentation this way allows me to easily export all of the information inside of individual frames, aka one slide, without exporting the whole project, while also visually allowing me to see the whole project all together. This color palette contrast checker is definitely one of my favorite websites when it comes to seeing how well different colors work with one another and the readability of them. It makes it very simple. I highly recommend to use if you've never heard of it. Here I'm setting up the frame that will hold the color information. We have the blue in the middle since it's the main color, and for the second box I'm creating a stroke with the same blue color and a white fill to indicate white. So obviously it's totally fine for a brand to only have 2 colors, and if it never ends up getting used, at least that accent color is around and available. I ended up choosing a lighter blue as the accent color because I want to keep the brand monochromatic to play up this edgy blue aesthetic that I have on the mood board. The more I go, I'll definitely stylize this brand guidelines as well. It's kind of just going to be a general reference point area. Now I'm working on the frame that will hold the information about the typeface. Since I had already typed out the alphabet for the first proposal that I already sent out, I went ahead and grabbed that to bring over to the project that we are currently working on. Now that I have this general setup over on Figma and the icons all exported, let's get back into Illustrator and let's dive in making the full version of this logo. I want this logo to be fluid but uniform, kind of like an instrument cable. When making these letters B and C, I used a circle shape to help me keep the sizing consistent between the letters. And now I'm recreating that circle to help me create the rest of the letters. To create this middle circle cutout, I copy and pasted the circle in place and then held the Alt key while resizing so that it would stay in one place. Once it was the correct size and aligned, I used the second Pathfinder tool to cut the shape. If you don't know this tool, go to Window, Pathfinder, or use keyboard shortcut Shift-Control F9, then hover over the options provided and find the one that says click to minus front. So I created this B and C logo based off of a very uniform circle. I have this reference circle that I'm going to kind of keep there as I go throughout making the rest of the letters. So let's focus on band first. So this B essentially could be a lowercase a if I flip it upside down, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do here. Now you can see I have this little issue there, but let's resolve it. As you can see, I use this Pathfinder tool all of the time. To me, it's the easiest way to cut an object with a straight line that is clean and precise and accurate. I'm not sure if it's the right way to do it, but this is how I do it. I duplicated this R shape to save for later in Central. And now I'll kind of just go without talking so you can really watch and focus on my workflow if you care to see how I create these letters. Coming to the letter D was a relief because it is essentially the same letter as B, so I was able to just copy it, put it in place, and then reflect it horizontally so that it magically became the D. I I skip over the letter E here because I keep tweaking the shape and I couldn't get it right. So I moved on to the next letters and come back in a second here to try again with the letter E. I noticed after zooming out that the N should be a bit taller, so here I am adjusting the N that's in the band, which is the first N that we created, and copying that into central. Pro tip, because this is something that stumped me for a while when I first started making logos. If you're wanting to round a corner but don't see the live corner widget, use the anchor point tool, and you can get to that by using keyboard shortcut Shift+C, or right-clicking on the pen tool and finding it, and then use that to click on the anchor to create an anchored corner. Usually, most of the time, this works. Okay, I have this general outline of the full logo. I'd really like to add some more like music symbolization within the logo. And I tried the 1/4 inch. I mean, I could do a drumstick, but that may end up looking a little questionable. What I do want to do is add this kind of ombre effect. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we have this written out lettered logo, and I also added the gradients to it here. And while I was doing that, I was on the very last letter, this L, and I was like, wait, what about trying to make a little icon of sorts that is an audio file? So that's currently what I'm doing. And I'm imagining that the band central could go underneath it. So my idea when making these gradients was to kind of have the color change look like a wave as well. So the wave was a bit more dimensional here, and that's just what you see me tweaking. Once I had finished the gradients for the audio wave, I wanted to move the full Band Central logo underneath of it to kind of create a 4th logo. So altogether we'll have 2-letter, the full spelled out Band Central. We'll have the audio file on its own, and then audio file with the Band Central underneath it. Okay, what do we think? I actually am vibing with this a lot. Okay, so what's crazy is, after I just did all of that ombre work, or not ombre, gradient work, now I actually will have to do it in every other color. So that's awesome, but I'm liking how it looks, so I don't really care. Let's go ahead and add the audio wave icon, the fully spelled out logo, and the combination of the both to the brand guidelines.